Right now, I don't know what to think. I don't know what he's expecting from us. He told us that he was going to Philly to fight at the convention, and I got myself an Airbnb room 4 months ago as my 50th birthday present to myself. And
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And now I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what he expects us to do after today. I don't really know why today was necessary.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
So I'm kind of getting the vibe in there that a lot of Bernie supporters felt like we were at a funeral, but everybody didn't know it was a funeral. There was like somebody died, but not everybody knew. That's kind of my interpretation. What was it like for you, kind of seeing Bernie up there talking nice things?
Yeah, I think in my case I wasn't surprised. I'm kind of an older young person or a younger old person, and so I feel like I knew that was probably coming. And the fact is, we are not losers. We did not lose this. We've done so much. We've had bigger crowds. We've had more energy. We've had more excitement. We've had better ideas.
Me and others that support Senator Sanders, we felt pretty sad. I think a lot of people will shed a tear when you have a candidate who's fighting against a corrupt campaign finance system, someone who has, fought all his life for equality and, wants to overturn Citizens United, to be endorsing someone whose top campaign donors are Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. Yeah, that definitely makes people sad. I'm sure that, like you said, emotions are raw and people are pretty angry right now, but at the same time, there are bigger issues at stake right now, and I think he realizes that his best shot at getting his platform implemented was to endorse Secretary Clinton. I'm a little bit mad about it. I'm a little bit disappointed, but I also understand that, he knows the game, and I think he felt that that was the best shot.
I definitely have no hard feelings for him. I believe he has a plan, and I trust him. But I am gravely disappointed. I think we're all expecting the convention, and I think a lot of us are still planning on going. But I think that there was expectation of going to the convention, and I think it was cut a little sudden, and I think we're all curious as to why.
My gut reaction was betrayal. I really had expected that Bernie would do what he said he was going to do, which was take it through the end of the convention. And his saying that there would still be a roll call vote at which 1,900 people might still indicate their preference for him doesn't really wipe out the fact that he's now asking 1,900 people to vote for somebody who has endorsed somebody else. So he's now saying that our votes in Philadelphia are actually, in a pass-through going for Clinton, which was not at all what we had been elected to do.
So you're basically saying you were elected to vote for him, and now he's telling you to vote for her. So it's kind of like you feel like you were sold a little bit of a bill of goods?
I do feel that. And I also think that the movement was sold a bill of goods. I very much appreciated his slogan, not me, us. But us means there has to be a movement that can hold together and feel that it's supporting something. And you always want a movement to be able to stand on its own feet and not follow some charismatic leader. But when a movement is first starting, it does need something that will bring it together.
I knew coming here, I had heard the rumors. I was trying to be realistic, no matter how optimistic we all try to be. I knew what I was in for, but it didn't really change the impact. Being in that room and hearing him say it, it knocked the wind out of me, and then it made it so much worse because you've got this man that you adore, that you have come to love, and you believe in him, and then half the room starts cheering when he says that he endorsed her, and you're like, I don't know.
Do you feel that Bernie overall is still Bernie, or you've lost a little bit of your mojo today?
My burn is like high gear right now. Okay. I think this is a puppet show. I think that he's playing a chess move. I think he's going to be at the convention. I think he's going to talk there, and I think I'm going to be there. ultimately he wants that platform for a reason. And I think that Hillary would have swiped that from him if he had tried to play any more games, which they would consider games, which I consider awesomeness, right? So like, no, I've lost no faith in Bernie Sanders. I feel no different about him. I was a little bummed out. It sucks to hear him say stuff like, he's standing there when he's thinking about fracking, when he's saying she's about the environment. Like, she's not about the environment. We all know this. That's the problem. There's this like delusion of the public that we on the Bernie side are just going to bow. We are the activists. We are the ones who stand up with our voices. We are the ones who are not going to bow to the establishment. So I don't understand their disconnect. That's basically where I'm at.
I think this is the bottom line, is that I'm a big Bernie fan. And I think Bernie's been on the right side of so many decisions for 30 some odd years right now? 40 years, right? And he's stuck to his platform, what he's looking to try to do. So if he thinks the play right now is to back Hillary, who am I to say no? And who is anybody else? If he thinks that's the way to go and he knows the inside scoop, I got to go with him.
There's a lot of people who either didn't know about the kind of conditions of this country and how the system is kind of lopsided, and there's a lot of people who knew but just didn't have anyone they trusted would do something about it. Do you feel in some ways like this was all smoke and mirrors now that you see him on stage with her?
Not really. I feel like in the face of someone like Donald Trump, everyone's kind of got to compromise, really. And I think we are losing something by not getting Bernie, but it sounds like Hillary is willing to work with him to get some of his support base. And I don't think he's really compromising his beliefs. I think he's still going to be the same person. It's just he didn't win, and he's I guess taking that gracefully now.
You know, you seem to be kind of practical about this. You're disappointed, but you appreciate what Bernie did. What would be your message for people who are, I'm getting it on social media already. Bernie's a sellout and all this stuff.
Bernie's not a sellout. He is a politician and he's practical. Bernie's doing what he believes is the best thing to do. We don't have to know why he's doing exactly what he's doing. We're not in his head. We're not in his meetings. But we can do the best that we can in our little world, in our little moments, to do the best job promoting his ideas about equality, about social justice, about the whole world. And my bottom line issue is climate change is not going away. They did not get a ban on fracking. They did not stop the TPP. They did not, this is in the platform negotiations, they did not get a carbon tax. A carbon tax is one of the best tools for making us behave properly and incentivizing the right behavior. You can't just have a libertarian approach to behaving better toward the environment. It doesn't work.
I think we spotted you getting a little, I don't want to say emotional, but you were definitely feeling something. Particularly Bernie talked about the fight for 15, so that kind of hit you. Tell me about that moment.
For sure. I think it's important to note that Hillary Clinton didn't embrace a $15 minimum wage until Bernie Sanders brought that issue to the table.
Hillary Clinton didn't embrace a lot of issues until Bernie Sanders.
We could go on and on about that. I think it's important to a lot of people, especially from my generation. That's something that's really important. And, there are plenty of people who are working 40 hours a week right now that are living in poverty. So I was glad to see that Hillary Clinton embraced that policy and others. I think that they're moving in the right direction. Minimum wage is just one thing. I mean, people are so busy working right now that they don't have time to, first of all, enjoy their lives, but also participate in the political process that would improve their quality of life. So I think it's important to recognize that until we're free economically, not just to enjoy our lives, but also to participate in the political process, we're going to have a tough time changing that system. I think Bernie Sanders was one of the first people to champion that. I mean, he's a Roosevelt Democrat. He understands that people need to be able to enjoy their lives as well as work hard.
I think that, especially with our generation, I think we're looking at a fight that is going to be different than what our parents are defining our fight to be. I don't think we're going to just be voting for Hillary and then just hoping for the best. I think our generation has a different idea of how we want to fight this fight. And I think Bernie Sanders has given us a voice and connected us in a way where now we can come together and we can figure out how we want to fight this fight.
I don't support Donald Trump. I'm not voting for him. But Trump is kind of, at least optically, to the left of her on a few issues. She says she's against TPP, but she called it the gold standard. He's against all that. Obviously, he doesn't have a record on war. He says he was against the Iraq War. We don't know about that. She obviously has had some foul missteps. So for the Bernie supporters who say there is no difference, Trump is, yeah, Trump is awful, but let's just burn down the village. Because I get a lot of those on comments and social, and she's a war criminal and all this. Do you think that they're being short-sighted?
I think so. I think, they were mentioning it today, but I hold this to myself that Trump he's a maniac. He doesn't think his opinions through. He just doesn't think about things in the bigger picture, like everyone should, but he absolutely doesn't. Hillary obviously doesn't have a great record with war and stuff, but she's so much better on things like climate that are so big an issue in our world right now, and gay rights, anything for minorities. She's so much better than him, where he's pretty much on the opposite side of the spectrum.
It's interesting because I wouldn't even say I'm a Bernie supporter, clearly. When I was in Iowa as a precinct captain for him, volunteered in his campaign, knocked on a lot of doors. And I wouldn't say this is the end. I think this is actually the beginning of a very important discussion we need to have. We saw him recently endorse a bunch of local candidates. And I think if people thought that this campaign was going to end in a victory, or that Bernie was the vessel in creating this progressive haven, that is not how it works. Bernie was an idea carrier. It's our responsibility to take those conversations that we had from this campaign and put them into our daily lives, put them into our communities.
It was kind of like you understood, but in every situation it was always the lesser of two evils. And every election with, the two-party system that we have, we're forced into voting for the lesser of two evils. And I should have seen it coming, because obviously we still have this two-party system. I don't know, Bernie inspires people. Obviously, like, you've seen it. He draws the biggest crowds of any candidate, and yeah, people see that he's authentic, he's real, and he's kept his message for, his entire career. How many times has Hillary changed hers? How many times has any politician? I don't even want to put Hillary on the spot, because she's not the only politician that's flip-flopped. She's not the only politician that, has changed their opinion when it's convenient for them. So I don't want to single her out, but Bernie, to me, and I think to everyone, is, he's the only one that's maintained his consistency his entire career. He's always been on the right side of issues. We believed in that. And yeah, that is what inspired all these people coming in.